Andrea, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. So I am super excited to chat, and I thought that we could just start with a quick look at your story. So for those in my audience who aren't familiar with you just yet, could you share a little bit about where you're at today and kind of how you got there?
Yes, so I am the Southwest Sampler. It's what I've been doing. What I do is I help to showcase everything that there is to do in the Southwest. So whether it's travel, hiking, resorts, restaurants, hotels, I help to showcase everything that you can do in your own backyard.
I
And
love that.
Mhm.
You know what I love too, by the way, you make our Southwest look so good because did you grow up in Arizona?
Yes, so I grew up over in
Okay.
Mesa, Arizona,
Okay.
and I've lived in Tucson and I've lived in Scottsdale for about 6 years or so now.
Okay, awesome. So growing up, I don't know if you felt this way too, but growing up in Phoenix, because I'm from here too, like four generations here, and there was never like it was never sexy to be from the Southwest like it is now. And now there's like so many awesome branded accounts like yours that are just creating so much buzz around like things to do and like how awesome this area is, but you just do it so well. So you're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, right?
Yes, and I also have a website. It's the Southwest Sampler. So funny thing about that is I tried to get the domain Southwest Sampler, but if I want to purchase it, it's like $1,000. So I'm not going to do that. So
No.
Southwest Sampler, yes.
So how did you get started with this content? Because you're like, you create a lot of media. How did you get started with it?
I started it about 4 years ago. The timeline is kind of off. It's been around 4 to 4.5 years ago. I wanted to help showcase everything in the Southwest.
Mhm.
So the first hike I ever went on, ever and ever, was Havasupai Falls.
Oh,
And it was really eye-opening and just it was a huge realization of like Arizona's beautiful and my own 2 feet can take me to do this. That was just a huge like pop. I was like, oh my gosh. So as I started traveling more, people started asking more questions on like where I was finding these things or where were they. And everything I was doing was in Arizona in the Southwest. And it was just, I don't know, the more I started to experience it, the more I started to realize other people want to see this too.
mhm.
And growing up here in Arizona, you're right, it was not cute. I thought it was so ugly. I just didn't get it, you know?
Yeah.
So, really, again, opening up my eyes to the beauty that Arizona has to offer, I wanted to then showcase that to everybody else.
So how has that kind of evolved to today? So you start like posting stuff, you start thinking about new things that you can share. What does it look like today and what kind of opportunities did that lead for you?
When I first started, it was a blog. So, it was a really, can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Or not? Because if not, it's okay. But it was a shitty blog. It was terrible. Like, I look back at it and it's like, okay, I started from something, you know? So, started as a blog. I started posting just hikes and things that I was doing. And over time, it's turned into this creative agency that I now own and I'm now the founder of. So it's taken a lot of time. I didn't even know I was going to go from where I was to where I am now. It kind
Mhm.
of evolved. Yeah.
I love that. So as far what's that?
Did that answer your question?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. So, like, for my audience, when I'm talking to real estate agents, right? And like, I'm sure you're familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So, Gary Vaynerchuk, when he's talking specifically to like salespeople, like real estate agents, you hear this a lot of like, be the mayor of your city, go out and like highlight all the things to do. Like, you should be the person that knows everything about your geographical area because that's part of what you're selling.
Yes.
And you can tell that to real estate agents, but we're kind of like, I don't even know where to start. And so, like, for me, this looks like just starting with my own interests, right?
Mhm.
And for me, like, I'm into coffee, I'm
Mhm.
into bars and restaurants, like consumption. I want to eat. I'm like, feed
Oh,
me. How do you come up with like great ideas on like where do you go to like find these new places to show us? Because your content is so fun and so captivating, and I haven't heard of half the places that you share.
Oh, well, that's cool. I love to search for local or unknown things. That's my main thing. I am not about a corporate setting. I like something that's more local. Again, all about local. So if I'm ever, I don't know, it's a lot of marketing with other people too, a lot of other influencers that I just happen to meet, and they tell me about this new coffee shop that opened up that I didn't even know about. So it's a lot about getting out and really connecting with others. That's what I've noticed. Yeah.
Okay. How do you find people to connect with? Like if you were, I'm serious, like break it down on the most actionable little tasks. Like, is it looking for networking groups? Is it just like kind of standing on a corner with a cardboard sign, or like, what does that look like?
So what I do, or how I started mainly is I would go through Instagram and find people that I wanted to be like. I would ask them out for coffee. I would then I would pick their brains so much. Through that, I started going to events, networking events. I'm not a huge Facebook person. I know that a lot of people go onto Facebook groups and stuff, but that's just not me. I just don't do that. So I've learned to really market and like get out there by doing person to person. So that's kind of where it started, was just getting to know people in that area that I wanted to be in. From there, going to networking events, I started to meet other influencers that I would take out for coffee, have them come on collaborations with me. Then they had other people in mind that they were working with, and they wanted me to work with them too. So it's all about connecting. And that's really how I got to where I am, is connecting a lot. In fact, the mentor that I had to begin with was Fabulous Arizona, Cynthia Salsi. So I've like, she was the number one person that ever gave me the time of day. And she actually like really transformed me into who I am now, as far as with my business. So it's all about really creating those, what is it called? Not partnerships, but relationships. Yeah.
We talk about that a lot too on the podcast because, in real estate, I don't know if you know, but they say that it's like relationships, right? It's built on, and I always say it's built on real people and real relationships. And it's just a relationship kind of business because people want to work with people they trust. And core to that is having a relationship. And so I always say, like, social media doesn't change that. Right? Like, that landscape doesn't change on social media. It's not about like just getting in front of like randos. It's about cultivating real relationships. So when you're doing this, are you ever just like shooting people in a DM on Instagram? Like, hey, let's chat.
In the past, yes. When I first started, yes, I would do that a lot, especially with people that I wanted to get to know. And I saw their content and it would be beautiful, but I didn't know how they did it or shot it or where it was. So I did that a lot at the beginning. I've come to a spot now where it's just a second nature to me now. Like, it's just people reach out to me. If I reach out to them, cool. It's really died down a lot, which I'm grateful for. Because at the start, it was like getting those DMs out all the time, emails, everything, like all the time. I always treated it as a full-time job, even when it wasn't my full-time job. And that's how I've grown so quickly, I think.
I love that. Like, the hustle and the DMs, you know, you can get so far, but I think that a lot of people are just afraid to like make that initial connection or reach out. Like, they're afraid they're going to get rejected or something. Like, have you ever been flat out told no?
When I first started, so my Instagram originally was an Instagram. It was just a typical page that my friends followed. So when I first started posting, like, I wanted to do this thing, like a blog, I started posting things. I had actual friends reach out to me who are not friends anymore, but friends. And they were like, why are you posting this? No one cares. And I'm just like,
Ew.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, you know what? You are going to have those people that aren't going to have your back, but you have to keep going, because if you don't keep going, the time's going to pass anyway. And you're going to wish that you would have done it before. Yeah. I've had to learn that a lot.
Oh, I'm really glad that you mentioned that. And I didn't know, like, if you would, because like for me looking at you, I'm like, oh, this girl's got it all together. She's a pro. But like, it never ends that way, or it never starts that way. Like, we have to go through some of those growing pains, you know?
Yeah, it's been a lot of growing pains, I will admit. But again, it's like, if you don't start, you're never going to go anywhere. And if you don't continue to go, it's never going to happen.
Love it.
Even with all the rejections, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I have some specific questions for you that I want to run down.
Yeah.
And I want to get like a little bit in the nitty-gritty about tactically how you do this in a way that maybe others listening can kind of create into their own unique strategy. So first of all, branding. I want to talk about branding because you've got a really very clear brand in terms of like the visual aspect and just the content itself. Like everything is very consistent and on brand. So can you like explain your brand a little bit to those who maybe haven't seen it yet, or like what does that mean to you? What does it look like for you right now?
As far as my brand, it is showcasing everything in the Southwest. And the reason it's called SouthwestSampler is because it's sampling a little piece of everything you could do in the Southwest. So through my brand, it is a lot of me, I admit, but it's also me going to places to show you that you can go there as well. And that's what I like to keep it. That's what I love about it is there's no specific niche of like restaurant, food, bar. It's everything, everything and everything, like all of it.
So I actually think that you being a part of it, like, because I always say you have to be the face of your brand.
Yes. And it's funny you say that. Sorry to cut you off. It's
No,
funny you
you're
say
good.
that because I've had a lot of people like before like I started really creating my brand. They were like, why is your face in it if you're showing the food or this and that? And it's like, because you need a face to the name, you know?
Yeah. And I really think that if we're talking about real relationships, it's got to start with that moneymaker, baby. Like,
Oh
it
yeah.
starts right there. How did you ever have any like fear of showing up on that side of the camera, or like did it seem pretty natural to you?
Oh no. Oh my gosh. When I first started, I wouldn't even face the camera. So I don't even know if the photos are still on my Instagram, but if you go down to the very bottom,
Uh-huh.
I will not face the camera. I don't face the camera. And I never wanted to face the camera. And I was actually dating somebody who is a photographer, videographer, everything. So he over time was trying to show me like you're really good in front of the camera. So the first couple photos I ever did, like for the first 2 years, I was like, like not good. And within the last 2 years, I've really blossomed in front of the camera. So it takes a lot of confidence and a lot of practice to really get yourself comfortable in front of the camera.
Can you walk me through about what that looked like on day to day? Is it just like forcing yourself in front of the camera and just like doing it and posting it even if you didn't love it, or?
Well, what I did is I practiced a lot in front of my mirror. So
Okay.
every day, not every day, but probably every day without knowing it, I would just do like little things in front of the mirror, like that, or like little poses I thought I would like. And then when I would work with a photographer, I would try those poses and I would have him show me the photo after like two or three shots. I'd have him show me the photo. As soon as I saw something I didn't like, I would immediately just change it a little bit and then good to go.
Okay.
Also, with that being said, find yourself a good photographer.
That was going
Everybody
to be my next
does it
question.
so different.
Yeah.
Everybody's so different. Yeah.
Is all of like your content shot professionally now, or is it a mix?
It's a mix. If it's something that I think looks better on my iPhone, great. Typically, I would like to have it done professionally just because it looks a little bit cleaner, clearer. But there are some instances where the iPhone shots just look better for some reason. So it just depends on what it is.
Can so I'm with you on this, and I have a professional photographer who does photos for us quarterly, and it's really just like for the stuff that I have in between the iPhone photos. So I guess I kind of do the same thing. But for people listening to this who are like, I don't have a huge budget for photos, like can they do most of this with their iPhone? And what are some like tricks that you kind of use to make sure that you're using your iPhone to create good content? Or, you know, whatever, smartphone. But honestly, like get an iPhone because the camera.
Yes, the iPhone can take beautiful photos. In fact, there are some really majorly huge, like big influencers that just strictly do iPhone shots. So yes, it's definitely possible. And your iPhone shots don't have to be crazy, like nothing. As long as you use the grid on the phone and
Yeah.
you kind of research how to take the perfect photo, you can easily do it. That's all it is. Do some YouTube research. You can easily find how to do it.
Totally. So you're talking like go onto your actual phone, like pull up your phone app, make sure that little like photo grid is on, and then you're leaning on like the rule of thirds and like the golden rule to like compose good photos.
Yes, as long as you're following the whatever that's called, the rule, golden rule. I forgot what it's called. Whatever. As long as you're
There's
following.
two. So there's the rule of thirds, and if you're looking at a grid, you have the 9 cards because it's like 3 on the top, 3 on the middle, 3 on the bottom, just the way the grid is. And basically, if you're listening to this and you don't really understand what that means, it means you're basically trying to line up the points of focus in the image with where those crosses intersect, where those lines intersect. Right. And then like imagine seeing like a horizon. You want that line of the horizon to line up with the grid as well, so that it's kind of broken into thirds linearly, but also horizontally. And then there's the golden rule. That's a little different, but it's a little more. But I think once you like nail the rule of thirds, the rest of it kind of like falls into place, you know?
Yeah. So that's the funny thing. You know a lot about this that I didn't even know the name of it. As much as I know how to take a photo, I don't know the specifics behind it. I just do what always looked good to me. And then Anthony Swan, the photographer, videographer, he's the one that has looked at my stuff in the past, and he told me that I'm using the golden rule, the rule of thirds, whatever you said. And I unknowingly was doing that.
Okay.
So that's how I know that that's a thing that you can easily do. Just learn how to do it. And it's very appealing to the eye, which is why it works.
So how about editing? Like, are you the person that wants something like super styled and edited, or are you more of like let's just make this look natural and pop?
I do all of my own editing. So even if I work with a photographer, I have him or her send me all of the raw footage.
Wow.
And I do it all from there myself, just because I know exactly how I like it. So lately, my content has been more on like the darker vibe type side, which I really love. And I'm starting to use more flash photography. So there's like big like shadows in the back and everything. So it just depends on what I'm feeling. And if I'm also looking through Pinterest and I see some new styles of editing that I like to do, I'll just play around and see if I could do that. So my style changes all the time.
Cool. And you're just like having fun.
Yeah. And that's what's cool about it is I'm having fun with it. The clients love it. So that's what makes it a really good time. That's why I love this job. And the program that I use is called Lightroom. So if anybody's looking to use a program, Lightroom is the best program I've ever used for editing. And you can also do presets. So you guys can buy presets through different influencers or even online. There's a ton of different presets, and then you just kind of like mess around with them a little bit, make it how you want it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Lightroom too. And I have can I ask who your favorite presets are for, or like just a couple off the top of your head?
I don't even know. It's called Ashley something. I don't know. Like I'm so bad about that.
But it's just finding something that like you gravitate to, that you like, and you're like, oh, okay, this works.
Yeah.
So I think mine, I know I've had a lot too. They're so easy to find. I think the ones that I'm using right now are Do You Travel presets from the Travel League. I don't know if you follow them.
I don't know if I do either, but I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah, they're a big travel brand, which is why I was just wondering. But like Bryce and I like to pretend that we're big travel people too, so I love following them. But it was the same thing where I was following this account, and I was like, gosh, I just love their photos. And then they were talking about their presets, and so I purchased it from there. But what I think is also cool is like you can even go onto Etsy or like Fiverr and get your own presets made for you for your brand, which is neat too.
Oh, I didn't know that either. That's super cool.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always looking for ways to like make things your own, you know, like you can swipe and adapt, which is awesome. But when you're ready, it's really cool to like do your own thing, kind of like you are, where you're just creating your own medley of your own style. And that's like becomes your signature look.
True.
I love it. So how are you doing on video right now? Because you create a lot of video, and this is one thing that a lot of people get really hung up on.
I've been playing a lot with video. In fact, here's my camera, if you guys can see it, if you're actually on the YouTube.
Oh, cute.
It has a flip up screen right here. Super cute. It's a Sony. I have
Which model is that? Sony what?
Let's see. So Tony got this for me. He gets me all my cameras. I don't know any.
Okay, so this is really good though, because a lot of people will just assume that you're like a pro on this kind of stuff,
No,
but you're not, which is fine.
I just do what looks good. I feel I feel, I just do it. So he's helped me a lot with this stuff. I link this a lot in my Instagram too. So if people are looking for it, I have it linked there.
Okay.
I also use this little baby Osmo. So he's super cute. He's so tiny. And then
What is that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a little camera. It's so adorable.
It's on a gimbal. So if you're listening to this, it's this little like handheld camera. It almost looks like a tiny little GoPro, but it's on a gimbal so that it'll still stay centered if you're moving your hand around, right?
It's awesome. Yeah. And it takes 4K video. It has great sound. So I use this a lot on hikes or just like bike rides, things like that.
Cool.
So with video, I started doing video maybe only 2 years ago. And it's trial and error, a lot of YouTube research. If I ever have an idea, I just YouTube it, see if I can find it. And I use Final Cut Pro for all of my videos. So
are you editing your videos too?
Yeah, I edit all my videos. So anything that I post, other than like the actual photography, I edit, I do the whole thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna add a pin.
Go for it.
Not necessary, but very cool that you do it. But if someone's listening to this and they're like, I don't got time for this stuff, like I'm not gonna learn how to edit my own stuff. Like, what would you do if you weren't editing your own stuff?
Oh man, that's a good question. I am so anal that I have to edit my own stuff. That's just
fair.
So I've honestly never looked into outsourcing. However, I know that you can definitely outsource. There's many, many people out here, especially in Scottsdale, that are open to doing that.
Yeah.
There's an Instagram, it's called Arizona Entrepreneurs.
Oh.
And there's people on there that they do that type of stuff where it's like, what is it called? Contract work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can always look on there, see if you can find someone that does it. And they're going to be local to the area, which is great because then you can work with them one-on-one. So that's always a good option for sure.
Totally. So what I do, because I used to do all of my own editing too, and because I've been doing YouTube videos for a couple of years, and then we've always done like just our own stuff on the gram, like as we're out and about. And like for me, my process looks like taking my own photos and videos just on my iPhone primarily now, and just like editing it on like, kind of like you said earlier, Lightroom. And then honestly, a lot of times when I'm editing, I'm literally doing any editing just within whatever app I'm posting it to. So either TikTok or Instagram Reels. I'm just like doing that because they're so easy. Like these apps make it really easy. But like for the other stuff, like the more polished stuff, like on YouTube, like at this point, like no shame, I legit go to a studio locally and I have them shoot it and like edit it for me because like it was
perfect.
Yeah. And it's what was right for me. Right.
Yeah.
Because it was becoming such a pain. And if you look back on my earlier YouTube videos, girl, they are so embarrassing. And I keep my head is cut off in most of them. And my mic isn't working. And I leave it up because so many agents I'll talk to, they're like, Steph, I really want to be creating this content. I want to create stuff that my audience is going to find valuable, but like, I don't know the first thing about editing. And I'm like, I didn't either. Look at my earlier stuff. I leave it there so that, like, you can try it. And like, some people are really going to enjoy it. I work with some agents who love the process of editing their content. They love, just like you, they get a lot of joy and like satisfaction from putting their unique touch on it and making it the way they want it to be. And then other agents like me were like, we can't get rid of it fast enough.
Funny you say that because I look back at some of my earlier YouTube videos and I'm like, what was I doing? And they're not terrible, but they're slow and they're dragged out and you're just like, get to the point,
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot. And that's the other cool part about doing your own editing is you can learn over time. And then as soon as you actually get it down, you can put your own touch on it, just like you said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. So there's different options always. And then I think when I was not doing what the studio that I'm doing now locally, I would just do Fiverr. I would just send them out $25 a pop. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, it's not like the best, but if you just need to get something up and out, it's good.
Heck yeah.
So when we're talking about editing on like Reels or TikTok, are you editing outside of that and uploading, or are you doing editing right within the app?
Got it. So I am doing, okay, TikTok is the easiest way to edit video if you're trying to edit easy.
Yeah.
Super easy. So I always go onto TikTok. I edit everything there. And then if you want to, because you don't want like the TikTok, like the little jinglies on the side. If you
the
want
watermark.
to, before you actually, yes, if you actually want to get that video uploaded without all of the watermarks on it, then how do I explain this? All you do is you screen record it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before you
iPhone.
post, simply screen record. Yeah. So iPhone, yes.
Yeah.
You just screen record, and then from there you can add it onto your Instagram Reels. It's super easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've actually just figured this trick out a couple of weeks ago. So when you create your TikTok, like you're done, you go, I think you, and it, when you're listening to this, obviously these apps change and they update. So things may be a little different depending on when you're listening to this, but you go to the points where you're about to post it and you preview it. So you click on the little preview of it and it'll play. That's when you want to start screen recording. And you just have to, if you have your iPhone, you have to make sure you have your screen recording settings on so that it's going to record the audio as well, right?
Yeah. You're way better at explaining than I am.
I'm like surprising myself right now.
You're surprising me. I'm like, damn, she knows more than I do. This is great.
Okay, so how often are you posting? Because this is like a lot of content that you're doing the editing. How often are you posting? And do you think there's like a threshold that you need to stick to, or is it just being consistent one way or another?
I was posting every single day for about like 3 years. And it might have been 4 years. It became so overwhelming to post every single day. In fact, like about a month and a half ago, I took 2 weeks off completely. I deleted the app. I was done because mentally I was so unhealthy. I was just not okay. So after that, I realized I don't need to post every day. That's not a necessity. You don't need to. However, you do want to post at least twice a week just so that you can keep your name up there. Stories, same thing. I thought I had to document every single moment of my life, and it was really eating away at me. So same thing. Stories, I only post maybe 2 a day. And if I am posting more, it's because I truly want to post more. But if it's something that's eating away your mental health, put it down for a second. No one cares. You know what I mean? Like nobody's sitting there, where's her post? It's like, just let yourself have a day, you know? So with that being said, twice a week.
Yeah.
If not, 3. Yeah.
That's so funny. I am in exactly the same place because when I was building my account, it was the same thing. Like every single day, Monday through Sunday, I was posting to the feed, and then every single day I was on the stories. And now, and I think it did serve me well. Like, to be fair, I think at that time it was good. I think that with the algorithm changes now, I think that you have a little more leniency, and they still want to see recency, I think. But like for me, I know that if I'm posting like you said, like 3 times for me, 3 times a week, maybe 2, like I'm good. And then I just know that I need to be showing up on the stories.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Like I just realized like my mental health is a lot more than posting. So yeah.
That makes sense.
And that's the other thing. It's social media it can get to you as far as mental health, but as long as you allow yourself to take that break, like I said, even for a day, you're good.
Love it. So how far in advance are you planning your content? So because, and the reason I ask is like you're doing stuff that seems to take a little preparation. Like you need to know where you're going. You need to know what kind of content you're going to shoot. Can you give me just a little look at what that looks like for you?
So I fly by the seat of my pants. I swear.
I love it. Oh, like, I'm so glad.
Calendar. I've actually listened to so many different podcasts with influencers, and they have like a calendar set up and everything's good to go, highlighted. I do not have crap. I literally go by the seat of my pants, whatever I'm feeling like. Like this past weekend, I worked with a brewery, and
Which brewery?
Historic. It's over in Flagstaff, and then they have a location in Williams. Cool. So worked with them over the weekend. And going into it, I had no clue what content I was going to get, what I was going to produce, because I find that I create better content in the moment. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've got to ask a little bit about the collaborations, and I'm going to preface this by like, if you're a real estate agent, you're not doing this to be an influencer, right? Like well, I mean, you will have influence. Everybody has influence on social media, but you're doing this the whole point is to provide content for your audience who should be local people who want to buy and sell real estate. And in doing this, you put yourself up as an authority because you're the person who knows like where to go, all the things to do. And the great side note is being able to collaborate with other businesses to get in front of their networks or grow your database in that way so that you have like more opportunities for sales, like that kind of thing. So how do you start a collaboration with like another company like that? Like, how does that process look like? What does the opening dialogue look like? How do you get an agreement? And a lot of people listening to this are not going to do this to get paid for that. So I'm not sure if like, if that's what you're doing, like that's totally awesome. But like what benefit to them are you pitching if you're not even looking to get paid? Does that make sense? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So when I first started, I wasn't getting paid because I had to start somewhere. So when I did first start, what I would do is I would email the company. So make sure you don't DM. DM is a little bit, when I get DM'd by a company, I feel like they didn't take the time to respect me and go and email me. Okay. So always email. And as far as collaborations go, so when you send them an email, just let them know who you are, what you're doing, and that you would like to somehow work with them, what you can bring to the table for them if they are willing to give you a trade for this. So if you're working with a restaurant that is located near the house that you're trying to rent out or sell, right? Mm-hmm. You can even go into the restaurant, but definitely email the restaurant, let them know who you are, where the house is. You're doing an open house, right? So you want to have some of their specific coffee, their donuts, their bakery goods, and you want to bring them into the house. And then at the same time, you are going to be giving them the promotion of their business, which is right down walking distance from this house. And then you're also getting the free goods. So it's just a matter of how you're able to trade.
Okay. And then you're like promising to post about it on social media and like do all that stuff. Is there a certain amount of content that you usually create for them?
When I first started, I would do one post and definitely a few stories. If you have the swipe up link, add the swipe up link to their website for sure. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah. So it's just.
So that's exactly what I did when I was building our account too. And like literally open houses, and it was so fun because like, that's just an easy way. And obviously right now in the pandemic, it's a little different. Like we're not really doing those, but like one that I'm thinking of specifically, do you know Cafeo?
I'm not sure. Where is that?
He's just like a little espresso cart guy.
Oh, maybe. Yes.
Yeah. So cute. We're like beep, beep.
Like, yeah, I think I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. Yes.
So like we would go to farmers markets because like a big part of our brand is like that local feel and like the neighborhood feel. So we'd go to a farmers market and we found this like espresso cart guy and he had this like this adorable little Italian, I don't even know what it was, but it's like this Italian little like scooter looking thing that he has like this big. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And we would pay him. We would actually pay him to come and do open houses and do like just sling coffee for us at our open house. Awesome. And we've done this with a couple of other people too, like with similar success, but it's so cool because like they get the benefit of getting in front of your audience, which I think is like the currency of influence right now, like just being able to leverage each other's audiences. And so we would post about him and we'd pay him for the coffee. Sometimes we would get like, a better break on like pricing and stuff. But that also still like is something of value for the consumer because like, maybe your database of friends and family is like following your Instagram and they see like this really cool coffee thing. Like you put the information of like where you can find him when he's not at your open house, like where does he set up shop or is he available for events? And maybe you have somebody in your database who's getting married that year and they want something fun and they can like hire him at their wedding. Or maybe it's like the family who like wants to go out and do something fun and they remember this like cool coffee cart that's at Uptown Phoenix Market. So they want to go to the market to go see this coffee cart and get themselves a little espresso, you know, but like that's value on all fronts. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like an exchange of goods. There is an exchange of goods there or, you know, money, but because you want to pay the guy for his time. But like, there's just so many ways that you can leverage that turns into value, which turns into trust in relationships at the end of the day, right?
Yes, I definitely
That's kind of how it
agree.
works, I
Everything,
think.
yeah, no, everything. Dude, I'm telling you, like, I have all these thoughts. Like, I know exactly what you're saying, but you are saying it so much better than I am. So everything
Oh,
you're saying, yeah, perfect.
love it. So let's just, as we're like wrapping up the convo, I feel like I could talk about this stuff with you all day, but looking ahead to 2021, what are you seeing as far as trends for like content creators?
Oh, local, stay local,
Okay.
because if nobody's really traveling, so is that what you mean by the trend?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
would.
even think about that, but that makes sense. Yeah.
No one's really traveling, so really try and keep it local. In fact, I did a San Diego trip like last weekend, 2 weeks ago, and we just did an Airbnb. We did a bike ride. We did stayed on the beach, very COVID friendly as much as it could have been. However, it was like the content obviously didn't do well, you know, things like that. And I get it. It's because people can't go do those things right now, or they're not willing to, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
So keeping it local, really just embracing the local vibes, everything that you could do in your own community, helping each other. A lot of that is going to go very far this year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On that same vein, like, how does authenticity play into that? Because when I was looking at your more recent photos, like they're super authentic in a good way, but I feel like there's so much personality and your face is in them and stuff. Is that something that you're going to keep leaning into this year?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely want to keep doing that. Again, my content has changed over time. So I've realized when I'm in my photos more bubbly and out there and like really showing my personality, I love that so much more than trying to be like serious and like, oh, this, and, you know, like,
I compose.
yeah, like, no, I want to be myself. I want my bubbly personality to really show through. And in fact, when your personality shows through, it grasps that audience attention so much more than just you with like a little thing like smiling, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, show the personality.
So what does personality mean for you? Because for everyone, it's a little bit different.
For me, I am like, I guess I have a big smile. So just like smiling and really just like being out there. I throw my hands up in the air a lot. I do a lot of peace signs. I'm just like, I'm so out there. So that's my personality. It's really just showing it through the camera. And since I've been more comfortable in front of the camera, especially this last year, I've had people ask me like, what changed about you? What's like, did you get something done? Like, what's going on? And it's just, no, I'm just finally showing my personality through the camera.
Did you see a different like level of engagement when you started doing that?
Yeah, a lot. And going through Instagram, you see a lot of the same content. So you think that you have to be the same way in order to fit in. But the second I started breaking away from the mold and really just being who I wanted to be and showing myself, my content went up like crazy, like the engagement.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm so glad you shared that. Okay, well, I've loved this conversation. I want to end with one last question, but before I do, where can people find you if they want to learn more about you or see more about your brand?
You guys can find me on Instagram at SouthwestSampler, TikTok at SouthwestSampler, website is the Southwest Sampler, and YouTube, Southwest Sampler.
Love it.
Yeah.
So easy. And I'll have those linked in the show notes too, just in case you're like, shucks. Man, I don't know what's going on.
You're almost there.
I know. Okay. Okay, awesome. And I'll make sure that I have those links below too, just in case you like, if you're listening to this and driving or something, you'll be able to find it too. But I guess my last question for you is in 2021, what is like the number one thing that content creators, whether you're doing this for like your full-time gig or if you're just trying to do this to support your business, what's that number one thing that we need to be on top of in 2021?
Just keep going. I know it might be hard with people not wanting to go outside and meet others, especially if they don't know you already, but just keep going. See if you could do a Zoom chat. See if you can like just somehow connect with others. It's all about connecting. And if days you feel down and like, I don't know if this is worth it, those are the days that you really need to fight through and just understand that it will get better and it will continue to get better as long as you keep putting the work into it.
I could not agree more. And I think that's an awesome note to end on. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us on the Market Authority Show. I'm so glad that you were with us today.
Me too. Thank you.